Hey Vegas, my name is Chris Cook,
I'm Russel Liss.
and we are sitting in for Dawn and Danny of Vegas Views. We're going to have a little show here today. We're going to have some fun, some conversation, and we'll go from there. What do y'all want to talk about today? What are we doing? What's happening? Any big news?
What are we going to talk about? I don't know. Biden dropping out of the election.
What an interesting 2 weeks we have had in our American political theater. And I said this, we were talking before the show. 3 weeks ago, if you said one of the candidates is going to get shot and one of them is going to drop out, they'd have locked you up and thrown away the key. But here we are, 2 weeks later. The big announcement yesterday, Biden is dropping out of the race for the president, and he has endorsed his vice president, Kamala Harris.
Yeah, I don't even know what to make of. I really don't know what they're doing. Like, to be honest with you, frankly, I figured like the Democrats were in trouble coming into this election, and I mean, who can they run that's going to beat Trump? Who would beat him?
I think a lot of people can beat him. He's obviously has some flaws himself as a candidate. 34 felonies. He's not he's running neck and neck with a guy that forgot what day it was. So that's not a real strong candidate if don't have a huge lead over a guy that couldn't spell cat if you spotted him the C and the T. So and the whole Trump message was going to be, look at Joe Biden.
Right.
And now they have to come up with a new message because Joe Biden's not running against him anymore.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, Harris will be just as easy to throw shade at, right? I mean, like...
No, I disagree. The only thing they have, she's not struggling with her mental capacity. She's a brilliant lawyer who prosecuted child abuse and sexual predators. So she's a very accomplished attorney. I think one of the things Trump struggles with is a very, very strong woman on the other side. I think when he was president 4 years ago, he could have gotten more things accomplished, but he couldn't overcome Nancy Pelosi. I don't think the Trump supporters want to hear that, but he only had one major initiative, one major program, and that was his giant tax cut.
Yeah.
He had control of the House and the Senate the first 2 years and didn't pass anything, So he's got, now I think the race turns to issues. And I think Kamala Harris has a better grasp of the issues. It's not about your base right now. Right now it's about convincing that wedge in the middle that's undecided. The moderate Republicans and the independents are going to decide this race.
Yeah, the whole thing, I have a hard time personally with it, because I think the things that are the major issues shouldn't be the major issues. I think that we spend way too much time focused on things like the border and Ukraine and all of that, and we're not spending near enough time worried about like the housing crisis we're having. America's shy like 6 million homes, but nobody's talking about that. Nobody's dealing with that, right?
Well, again, when one candidate's mental capacity is that much under scrutiny, you don't have to discuss the issue. So hopefully, with that put aside, the candidates can actually discuss issues and maybe do something for the American people.
Yeah, we could.
Other than the rich American people, I read this the other day, and I hate throwing these things out without being able to pinpoint my source. But without the Bush and Trump tax cuts, we would have a balanced budget today.
Yeah, that
I read that this week. Again, I apologize for not having my source handy. But look that up, Google it if you got a problem.
Which is really funny because so when Bush got into office, right, he basically inherited like a surplus. And I don't know if anybody remembers getting their surplus check.
Clinton had a near balanced budget. So yes, we were almost at we had a slight surplus when Clinton finished his 8 years.
Now, what I thought that was from was actually the tax hikes that Bush Sr. did going into...
I can't remember back that far.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's the thing that cost him the election, right? He came out and said, read my lips.
No new taxes.
And then he voted for the largest tax increase. But the problem was that Reagan had run deficits for all of his time.
Oh, right.
Like, the Reagan deficits, like, everything we face today really stems from that time, right? Everything from probably Nixon forward is just, it's this, you can draw a line.
I'd agree with you there. Under Reagan, we started the war on drugs and spent billions and billions of dollars. Nancy Reagan had a son who overdosed, and it was important to her. I won't get into my opinion on Nancy Reagan, but she forced that, and now they're battling against marijuana, which is now legal in half the states in the country. So that cost us a lot of money. That's also when the trickle down economics started with that Reagan tax cut for the rich. So it's been a long winding road.
It is, and it's really interesting because I think you're in a place right now where you're seeing like very, very similar things economically speaking, right? You've got Jerome Powell now, who's our Fed chair president. He's running, first of all, he ran the fastest, greatest tightening. I mean, Volcker had his one moment, right? The Volcker moment where he went, Paul Volcker was the Fed chair under Nixon and under Reagan, okay? And he had the moment where he raised this like to 10% instantly. He's like, oh, we're going up. And because inflation was insane during the 70s and part of the 80s, and he's what put us into, he put us through 2 recessions, Volcker did. At the same time, to sort of counterbalance that, what Reagan was doing was running huge deficits. So the government was stimulating the economy instead of the Fed stimulating the economy. We've done a similar sort of thing with the budget under the Bidenomics thing, where the government is spending a lot of money still. We're just trillions, right? We're printing trillions.
And the infrastructure bill, yes, they were.
And don't get me wrong. I think we needed the infrastructure bill. Like, you drive around any set of roads and you're going to say, we need something here, right? I live in Seattle, and the West Side Bridge in Seattle nearly collapsed, right? We had another bridge on the East Coast collapse, right? So I think the infrastructure is important, but at the same time, you see kind of what's happening, where like the Fed may be tightening and pulling money out of the economy, and the government's kind of going behind them, easing it still. I feel like that's kind of what we've been in, and maybe the reason why we're not in a full-blown recession right now, is because we've had some of that. You still have money coming in.
Well, no, the American economy has grown at a rate since COVID that no other country in the world can say. We're leading the world out of the recession caused by COVID.
Unless you're China. So we've pulled tons of Apple's pulling manufacturing out of China to India. You have all everybody has basically left China. As a matter of fact, I think last month even Bank of America sent a letter to all of the car companies, the big 3, GM and them, said, if you have manufacturing in China, get it out of China. Right? So China's in a lot of trouble right now. Their real estate collapse, the Evergrande fiasco, that whole thing was a nightmare. Their bond market is They even this morning, they actually the PBOC came in and they lowered rates again, just doing anything they can to stimulate that economy over there because manufacturing's just leaving China
Right.
now.
No, they're building cities off of. China believes in in global warming so much so that they have like cities built for 40 million people off the coast that are sitting empty,
Yeah. Well, a lot of that had to do with
just waiting for the seas to rise, and then they'll move the population.
Is that really what they were doing?
It's another way to stimulate the economy too. You know.
Well, I get that, right? Like, because there are apartment buildings there that aren't apartments. They're just cement cubes. You can't get to the second or third floor of these cubes. There's no way up. It's not even. But they were selling them as a apartment, as a condo you could buy. Like that, Evergrande had a whole bunch of that. Like it was absolutely insane, because Evergrande they were running kind of a Ponzi scheme, right? It's slightly similar to what like Japan was doing, where Japan had like the lost decades, where like their economy was exploding, and then it just like they flew too high and it got too hot, and now. They've had negative interest rates for a decade now, right? And just things were just too hot. Like, as a matter of fact, there are YouTube channels you can go on, and people go to Japan, and the government's just giving houses to you. If you come there and you live there, there's requirements. You have to make like certain improvements to the house, and the taxes they're no joke. But like. China was kind of following the same blueprint of that, where like their real estate market was just going boom, 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 boom. It was just growing so fast. People were taking out mortgages on houses before they were even built. Like it was absolutely insane. And the reason I bring all that up is because
I was wondering where you're going with all that.
Yeah. So the reason I bring this up is because although America may be helping to lead, right? Like anybody who makes something in the world, they're going to bring it here to sell it here, right? If you make a widget or a hoojit or anything, coming here and selling it in the American market is going to work. The problem is all of our manufacturing since Clinton has gone to China. It's all moved into China, and now we're moving it out. So like the worry about the global recession is like we have to sort of compete with China as far as like or get manufacturing somewhere else other than China in order to ensure that's going to happen, and I think that's the big major concern, Well,
and all that leads to inflation because they could do it cheaper in China. So that means the price of things is going to go up.
It will continue to go up. Especially because China's dealing with their own inflation.
Although I just bought gas last week here in Las Vegas for $3.49, and that was the cheapest I've ever bought it for in the 6 years I've lived here. So
wait, how much did you pay?
$3.50.
That's the cheapest it's ever been here.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, we get the kind of the California bleed. Yeah, it's $1.25 more than in Texas here.
Yeah, I don't think you can get gas below $4 in Washington.
And then I bought a dozen eggs for $1.29. So I don't know. Some things are super cheap, and some things are.
Do you remember when eggs were like $5 a dozen?
Yeah,
So I was a chef in a restaurant, and when we were paying $5 a dozen, we were screaming. We were like, "Oh my God, we're so messed up!" Like, no joke. Like,
and a chicken virus caused that.
Yes, yeah.
A big overkill of chickens, a chicken virus.
Well, they had to. They just wiped them out.
Ran rampant. True story. All right, well, let's take a little break here. Again, this is Vegas Views. We are sitting in for Don and Danny. They will be back next week. We just wanted to stay on top of you guys. Vegas Views will be back in 2 and 2.
Traditional TV is going away. Hollywood is starting to fade. People are demanding real stories from real people. Our voices are now being heard in our own way. Podcasts, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok Live are becoming the norm. Internet TV has now reached the highest demand in human history. Social media shows is now the new media of the century.
Hi, I'm Deacon T with Modern Word Ministries. It's great to be with you today. Just a short little promo for our show. Every Sunday morning we have service, and you can follow us at 10 a.m. Pacific Time on modernwordministries.org. And if you missed us or you want to see some of our older messages, go ahead and check us out on socialmediashows.com every single morning at 9 a.m. It's a great way to kick off your day, get a little bit of the word in you, get something uplifting, get you started off on your way. You know, if you're looking for prayer or you need some help, reach out to us. If you go to our website, again, that's modernwordministries.org, you can interact with me via telephone, via DM, text message, whatever you want. I'll get right back to you. So if you need prayer, you need help, you just need somebody to talk to, Modern Word Ministries is here for you. We are your church in the community. So until you see you next time, be blessed, everybody. Bye-bye. And welcome to the next exciting episode of
Arena War.
Fresh batch of institutionalized gladiators fighting for their freedom.
Ready, here we go.
You guys heard Perez?
Yes, smell that.
Get back!
Those on the line. The parole board has offered you a ticket out. Win Arena Wars, win your freedom. 7 arenas with 7 of the most vicious killers the world has seen in the last decade. You make it out alive, you get to go home.
Luke Bender.
You're an innocent man.
Innocent man can mean big ratings.
I'll be watching.
I think it's time to audition Mr. Bender.
What was your last physical?
Cell block shower this morning. Oh yeah.
You ready for this? Impressive showing out there tonight. You're the new fan favorite.
Are you with me?
Cutie pie back for the kill.
If you want to live through this, we have to work together. I'm watching you.
Smile for the camera, thug life.
Wow.
It's showtime!
We have to finish this.
Come on.
Doesn't sound much like rehabilitation, does it?
Got Films is a full-service production company that provides motion picture quality content and production services for use in the film and TV industry. Looking for a seasoned crew, high-quality equipment, or other production services for your film, TV, commercial, corporate convention, sports, news, or interview project? Your search stops here. Some of our projects include NASCAR, American Restoration, Pawn Stars, Counting Cars, Top Chef, BattleBots, Forge and Fire, and Street Outlaws. We have also produced over 60 feature films and documentaries. We're ready for all your needs. Whatever your project, whatever your budget, big or small, Got Films got you. GotFilms.com.
Hello everybody, I am Nelia Ross. I want to invite you to join my new variety TV show, Las Vegas Live with Nelia Ross, every Saturday morning at 12 p.m. on socialmediashows.com. Experience music, entertainment, and culture with local artists, celebrities, movie directors, magicians, comedians, dancers, and so much more. But that's not all. Our special segment Bella Italia will take you on a musical journey through Italy. And the best part is that now you can watch us from anywhere in the world thanks to the streaming. Email us at neliaros.official@gmail.com to be our guest or sponsor. Tune in every Saturday morning at 12 p.m. and get ready for the ultimate Las Vegas experience. Un bacio da Nelia Ross. Ciao.
Hey, we're back. My name's Chris Cook.
Oh, I'm Russ. I don't know what's going on right now.
And we are sitting in for Dawn and Danny. We are Vegas Views this week.
You can tell we're not the professional, or at least I'm not.
Yeah, I don't resemble that remark. We've been talking a little bit about politics. We've been talking some economic news and views. What else we got here? We got monsoon season.
I don't want to tell you.
It's supposed to rain.
Let me ask you about this because I'm very curious. Because you're from Austin, right?
I'm from Texas. Yes.
But did you live in Austin for a while?
Yes.
Okay. Have you been back there since like the mothership and all that stuff?
No.
You've not.
Not to perform at all. I have not. But I'm hoping to make a run here in the fall and check it out.
Is it no? I watch Kill Tony every week, and I watch a few Joe Rogan episodes. I'm very selective about which guests I really care to watch. But I mean, they make it seem like comedy's just blowing up down there. Like it's a comedy gold rush.
It is, but it's not.
Okay.
Yes, they are saying that, and it may appear that way. But Austin had when I moved here 6 years ago. I moved here because there was more opportunities in Las Vegas. I do stand-up comedy than there is in Austin, Texas. When I left Austin, there was maybe 10 to 12 clubs that paid comics every month. When I moved to Vegas pre-COVID, there was 150 places that paid comics every month. So just 100-fold opportunity. You know, you're just going to stumble into more. Now again, it's big fish, little pond, little fish, big pond. But so now again.
Now, what do you mean pay? Right? Is it like here's some money you can buy a pack of smokes money, or is it?
No, it's still
you can
beer
put
money.
some gas in your car.
Yeah. A guest spot here pays $25. A feature spot pays $25. A headliner set pays $50 to $100. At the bar show level, you start getting into the comedy clubs here. The headliner's making between $100 and $200. You start to get to the weekend headliners making $300 to $500, and then Seinfeld comes to town and gets the MGM. He's making $1 million a show.
I knew when you get to a certain it's like nothing. You're
now Austin, Texas. Austin is the live music capital of the world.
Okay,
we are the entertainment capital of the world here in Las Vegas. So there's huge music festivals in Austin, South by Southwest and the ACL Fest, and so big that literally hundreds and hundreds of bands, nobody bands, not just the famous ones that are on the bill, come to town to play for those events. Not one of them is getting paid for any of their shows anywhere. Music venues are like, why should I pay you anything? I have six bands out the door that'll do it for free.
Mm-hmm.
So that spills over into comedy. They don't. I was trying to produce some shows. Hey, I want to do a comedy show here. Well, you can do it, but I'm not paying you.
Right. Well, Vegas is the same with music here. I had a bar here. I think you've been there a few times when I ran that place. And the Vegas will not pay for talent unless you somehow guarantee me you're going to fill my restaurant by bringing you here.
Well, I found the complete opposite.
Really?
For comedy, like the first people I approach, hey, I want to do a comedy show here. Sure, get me a proposal. I'm like, oh, wow, that was easy. So I went to another place. hey, I'd like to do comedy share. Sure, get me a proposal. And both of those, they paid me. I hired the comics, and I paid them.
Nice. Is the Ice House still here?
No.
Now, did you ever perform at that one?
I did, but they had like an open mic. I think I did there once or twice.
Okay, because I've heard other comics talk about.
Well, that was a long time ago.
The Ice House. Yeah, it was weird because I know like they went through like kind of a remodel and then.
Well, okay. There's an Ice House. The Ice House, the famous one, is in L.A.
Okay.
There was a bar here called the Ice House, no relation.
Right.
That also did comedy, but no, there's a big comedy scene at the Ice House in Pasadena, I think.
Right. Well, it's kind of, is it connected with the Comedy Store and kind of that whole?
I don't think so. No, that's not part of them.
Okay. I mean, I don't know because the thing that I'm curious about is I'm very curious about like if like the market for comedy. If Austin's going to change that, right? If comics start really getting paid down there, is that?
Yeah, no, I don't. It's not anything. It's not a black hole that's sucking all the life out of the comedy in the rest of the country. It's not. I don't know. I've watched plenty of Kill Tony but I they're talking. I've never got the impression they're trying to say Austin's going to be the new comedy mecca. It's just growing, and it's grown from what little it had. There was Austin pre-Mothership had basically 2 comedy venues, Cap City, 2 full-time comedy venues, Velveeta Room and Cap City Comedy Club, and the rest were theaters that did a comedy night, or now they could be weekly or monthly shows, but it's still a theater that does one night of comedy a week.
Because Vegas is changing a lot, right? Like I've heard around the internet they toss the Hollywood 2.0, right? That's what they're talking about Vegas. So I wonder like how much more show business moves this way, how much that affects. Does it affect comedy? Does it affect music? What is that? What is I am curious as like what the future of entertainment's really going to look like.
Right now everything's pretty strong here. Music, comedy, the theater, the shows. Everybody seems to be filling their seats. There's some casinos going under, and that'll change the face a little bit. We lost the Trop that had Laugh Factory. Dice Clay lived in the Trop. I don't know, where did Dice go?
Right.
He had his reality TV show that he filmed from his studio on the top floor.
Right.
And I don't know what happened. Where's Dice? Has anybody seen Dice? Should we contact Dice? Somebody make sure he's okay.
Yeah, somebody go look. It's a skin search party going.
He's wandering the streets of Las Vegas with his leather jacket.
So, yeah, in Vegas, there's so much changing here. I mean, the Mirage this last week is gone.
Yep.
It's gone. I worked there for almost a decade.
I think they're gonna the last 2 towers of the Tropicana, they're gonna implode at night in a big Las Vegas style. So that'll be fun. I may go down to that. That's always cool. There's like fireworks, and then they're
gonna blow it up.
They implode the building.
Oh man, I'm not gonna get to see that.
That's gonna be it'll be
gone.
It'll be cool.
Oh man,
I thought I saw September, but let's check on that.
Do we know if they're tearing down the Mirage? Are they gonna rebuild it, or
they're tearing it down?
Yeah.
What did I hear is going in there? That's the Hard Rock. Yeah. The Hard Rock with the big giant guitar shaped hotel.
Right. And
that thing is massive. I saw a mock-up for that when I was down on the Strip last week, and that guitar is huge. I think it's like 50 stories.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's big.
Wow.
It's going to be one of the bigger buildings downtown or on the Strip. It's going to be cool.
I wonder what they're going to do for live music. man, I bet it's going to be.
No, they're the Hard Rock. They're going to have.
Oh, it's going to be great.
We'll have 10 venues for music.
Right. They're going to clone Kurt Cobain and bring back Nirvana. Like, who knows? So, the Bellagio fountains are going away. They're covering up. They're going to put another shopping center in.
Right. I didn't hear that.
Yeah. Actually, so when I worked at the Mirage in 2016, this was something they proposed. Like when the Link got up and running, it was a huge success right out the door. And I was like, oh no, we gotta do something completely different. And so like those were the kind of propositions. I remember I was running the Mirage buffet, and the whole plan was actually to steamroll the buffet and put in just like kind of like Taiwanese like food stalls. So like everything was, and Container Park was another one that was like a huge success, and everybody was trying to follow that trend. I don't know that they're too late for that. I'm curious as to see how that will be.
I did see that that IT glitch the other day drained the Treasure Island water out front.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
The CrowdStrike thing?
Yes. Somehow the water that affected the water at Treasure Island, and the ship was dry docked for a day and a half. I think that I thought I saw
run aground, if you will.
It's back filled again, but of all the things to glitch out, the water that fills up the Treasure Island, they should have taken that thing out when they stop doing the whole pirate vessel, the fight and the crash. It was so cool. And now it just sits there.
Yeah, they traded it for a Walgreens. Like, it was the best move Walgreens ever made. That store makes bank.
And there's a Whataburger now on the Strip. I did a little episode at Whataburger. That was fun. Love me a good Whataburger. That's y'all have them in Seattle?
I've never eaten a Whataburger.
You're missing.
No. I don't know.
What else is going on this week? We got anything else? We got politics. We talked the economy. We talked Vegas proper.
Yeah, I mean, on the economy, we got FOMC showing up. Is coming in the next 8 or 9 days. I think it's next week, FOMC. So we're supposed to get a first interest rate cut. That'll be interesting. So
well, in a while, yeah. Well, probably 3 years since we've had a cut.
Yeah, I think the last raise was a year ago. They did the last interest rate hike. That we'll see, because like it's gonna depend if like. And the thing that's really concerning about this, it's really weird with the housing shortage, right? Is that if the Fed cuts rates, what you're gonna have is there's this group of buyers that are waiting for the Fed to cut rates, the first rate cut, and what they're gonna do is they're gonna come in and they're gonna buy up every house that they can get their hands on. And it's going to be a high interest. They'll be paying 6.5-7% mortgage rate, right? But the whole point is like, okay, well, I'll get this house. Yeah, I'll pay a 6.5% mortgage. But as the Fed lowers rates, I'll just refinance it down. And that way I've gotten the cheapest mortgage price. And the thing is, if there's enough of those people, they'll start fighting each other. There'll be a bidders war for the houses. And what we're worried about is that we'll see inflation start to creep back up. So the Fed's really they're walking a fine line with this first rate cut. But
it wouldn't shock me to see a rate cut or two before the election in November.
It is weird, right? Though
it's not supposed to be political, but you've seen it with almost every sitting president. And now, again, our sitting president won't be running, but they always seem to get the last-minute boost from the rates. Either a high, whatever the economy needs, either the hike or drop the rate.
Well, I know they're going to have to start moving soon because the way our inflation is going right now, you're actually working towards like possible like negative inflation. That is like which is not. There are three terms when we talk about inflation, right? There's inflation, there's deflation, and then there's disinflation, right? And disinflation is the slowing of the pace of inflation, right? What our Fed wants to do, our Fed doesn't want prices to come down. They want them to stay kind of where they are and in fact keep going up slightly, right? That's
how the economy grows.
That is yes. This is how we grow the economy. This is how we expand the money supply. That's what we do, right? What they don't want is deflation. And like you have to do some historical research. But if you look at like the 40s and the deflation that happened in the 40s, it was devastating. People were starving to death. There was this one instance where they killed 6 million pigs, and they just let them rot because there wasn't enough actual money for a person to buy the pig. So they just killed them and let them rot. And just tons and tons of crops, wheat. Like there were farmers who were literally just lighting fields on fire because there was nobody to sell them to because nobody had any actual money. So like deflation is it's really funny. Like there's this idea that we want deflation. We want things to be cheaper. And you really don't want that. You know, it's kind of the idea of like, don't wish things were easier, wish you were better. It's the same thing with goods. Don't wish things were cheaper, wish you had more money to buy the thing at the price it is. And like, that's a healthy economy, right? That's how we grow like the healthiest economy is by making the things in the economy accessible to more people. Now, either that's through just producing more of those things, which is a form of deflation, right? We have supply side economics there. Or the other side of it, which is you have find a way to get that to a poor person, right? How do I get this cell phone to a homeless guy, right? That is...
Homeless guy already owns this cell phone.
So like that's kind of what you're balancing there, and the Fed has to sort of balance that too, like with whatever this next rate cut will be. And I will tell you, it is very convenient that we're at this point going into the
November election. I know,
which is really, because here's the thing: is Powell is a Republican, so a rate cut going into the thing, wouldn't that be a boost for Democrats?
It would.
I mean, now this is the thing I find.
Again, he may be a Republican, but but that's about as independent as you can be. Again, the slightest adjustment can make so much to so many people that. But then again, here we're talking about getting a bump before the election. So
yeah, here we wind up back at square one. We should talk. Do you think the Trump assassination was an inside job?
I don't want to touch that yet. I'm not. Inside of who? Inside where?
That's where I'm at. I'm like,
inside the Trump circles, inside the FBI, inside the Secret Service, inside the White House. Probably not. It'd be a better story if it was, but I don't think it is. It'd be a much better story if it was.
I think it's just some kid went nuts from watching too much TV and
playing too many violent video games. Well, I think
we're wrapping this up.
We've covered all the subjects here for today. Again, my name is Chris Cook.
I'm Russel Liss.
Again, my name is Chris Cook.
I am Russel Liss.
And we are Vegas View, sitting in for Dawn and Danny. They'll be back next week. Appreciate you guys spending a little time with us today. Look for Dawn and Danny on Vegas Views next week.